If your business handles a lot of contracts, then you already know the signature is usually not the real bottleneck. The real delay happens before and after that moment. Drafting the contract, reviewing the risky parts, routing it to the right people, chasing approvals, keeping a clean audit trail, storing the final version properly, and then remembering what still needs to happen after it is signed. That is why eSign.AI is interesting to me, because this is not just about getting a signature on a PDF. It is about turning the whole contract process into a smarter workflow.
Welcome to Nova Toolbox. If you're trying to find AI tools that genuinely save time, improve quality, or help you build faster, this channel's for you. I don't just list features, I test tools like a real user and show you the results on screen. In this video, we're exploring
eSign.AI.
First, I'll give you a quick overview of what it's designed to do. Then we'll go inside the tool together, review every key feature, and run a full test so you can see how it performs in a real workflow. I'll also share what I liked, what I felt was limited, and the best way to use it to get clean results. And at the end, I'll give you a clear verdict. Is it worth using? What plan makes sense? If that's the kind of review you want, subscribe to Nova Toolbox. Now, let's get started with the overview.
So the way I want to frame this is very practical. Let's say I need to send out a vendor agreement. Normally that sounds simple until you actually go through the full chain. First, I need a contract draft. Then I need to review the language. Then I need to send it to the correct signer, track its status, archive the final version, and make sure the next steps do not get forgotten. That is where a lot of teams still lose time, even if they already use digital signatures. They may have digitized the signature step, but not the workflow around the contract. So inside eSign.AI, the first thing I would show is AI drafting. Instead of starting from a blank document, I can use a simple prompt to generate a first version of the agreement. That is already useful because it removes the slowest part for a lot of teams, which is getting the first draft moving. And what I like here is that the point is not to pretend AI can replace legal judgment. The point is to move faster at the early stage, then let people focus on reviewing and refining instead of wasting time on repetitive setup. Right after that, I would run the AI review. This is where the workflow gets much more valuable than a normal e-signature tool. Instead of just sending the draft out and hoping everything is fine, I can check for risky clauses, compare revisions if multiple versions are involved, and get a clearer view of what might need business or legal attention. That makes a huge difference in real operations because contracts rarely move in a straight line. Vendors ask for changes, internal teams want adjustments, and legal wants visibility. If the platform can help flag issues early and compare versions cleanly, then that already removes a lot of friction before the document is even sent. Then comes the signature workflow itself. Once the contract looks right, I set up the signer fields, define the routing, and send it. This is where eSign.AI still covers the trusted e-signature layer businesses expect, with online signing, signer management, and traceable records. But the reason this feels different is that the signature is only one stage inside a larger process. The platform is built around that bigger idea: draft, review, send, sign, archive, track, and renew, all as one connected flow instead of disconnected tasks spread across email threads and folders. And honestly, I think the next part is just as important as the signing. Once the document is out, I want visibility. Who has opened it? Who has signed it? What timestamps were recorded? Where the final file is archived. That is where the audit trail and contract status really matter. A lot of contract tools feel finished the moment the signature is completed, but real businesses know that is not the end. The signed contract still needs to be stored correctly, traced properly, and connected to whatever happens next. That is why audit-ready archiving and post-signature tracking are such important parts of the story here. And if you think beyond one agreement, this gets even more practical. Sales teams might send customer agreements constantly. HR might need to issue offer letters in batches. Procurement might handle recurring vendor forms. Operations might need a cleaner way to manage approvals across regions. That is why features like bulk send and integrations matter so much. Once contracts become a volume workflow instead of a one-off document, the value shifts from simple signing to process control. That is where an AI-native contract automation platform starts making much more sense than a point solution. I also like that this can fit into broader business systems instead of staying isolated. Contracts touch CRM, ERP, HR platforms, approvals, internal workflows, and increasingly AI-enabled systems as well. So when a contract tool supports APIs and integrations, that means companies can embed signing and contract execution into the systems they already use instead of forcing teams to jump between disconnected tools. That makes it much more relevant for global teams because once contract volume grows, the real challenge is not just sending documents, it is making sure the contract process connects to actual business outcomes. So my honest takeaway is this. eSign.AI makes the most sense when you stop thinking about the signature as the whole job. The real value is everything around it. Drafting faster, reviewing smarter, comparing revisions, routing signatures properly, tracking status, keeping a clean audit trail, archiving correctly, and making sure nothing gets lost after signing. That is why this feels like more than a simple e-signature product. It is a contract workflow platform with AI built into the places where teams usually lose time. So if your team still handles contracts through scattered documents, inbox follow-ups, and too many manual handoffs, check out eSign.AI at eSign.AI and see how it fits your workflow. And if your company is growing across sales, HR, procurement, legal, or operations, this is the kind of platform that becomes much easier to appreciate when you test it on a real contract process, not just on a feature list.